All right, I'd like to make a Zoom video talking about how to, okay, just make sure my audio is connected. I want to make a video talking about how to use the They Say I Say techniques or blending our sources in our essay. All right, so I'm going to post this to Comp 1 also just because I want Comp 1 students to learn from it going into Comp 2. This is mostly for my Comp 2 students. So this is what we went over yesterday and today, the 14th and 15th of November in Comp 1 and Comp 2. But again, Comp 1 was just to learn from this going in and using it in Comp 2. All right, so let's get my PowerPoint going. I'm going to pause this real quick. All right, so I had this pulled up. Let me share my screen. From beginning. Okay, so we talked about actively participating in our essays, which means that we are talking to our sources, make our sources talk to one another, and not just quoting and leaving that quote alone, right? Not just having a citation and then I call it abandoning your citation in our essay. So I got this from the book, They Say I Say. You don't have to own the book to understand what we're doing in class. All right, so I'd like for us to express our ideas in response to others, right? We're responding to others in conversation, right? Where we're summarizing others, we're setting up our own arguments, or, well, they say this, but I say this type of idea, right? We want to invite students into the conversations and debates around them and use it, don't just respond to it. So again, we don't just want to abandon our sources. So we got into 5 different groups, and I'm just going to kind of show you what we did in those 5 groups and go over some citation ideas that I would like for us to some citation notes that I would like for Comp 2 students to use now and Comp 1 students to carry over into the next into Comp 2. All right, so think of academic discourse as a conversation at a dinner party, right? So here's my 5 sources, 5 of my sources. There we go. Here's 5 of my sources. I have Sarah Abo, and she was the reporter for the Gabby Petito case. We have Craig Groeschel, who has the moment speech. We have, she represents the M&M's Corporation. He represents Tristan Harris from Social Dilemma. And this man over here represents my Plato source. So they're all sitting around the dinner table and talking to one another, and they're talking about my essay topic. That topic is that people are for sale in commercials, right? That we are now the product. We are for sale in commercials, that people are for sale. And that's what they're talking about, my argument, right? So they're all sitting around a dinner table and they're talking about my argument, right? And this is number 5 down here. I didn't mean for it to have a number 5 on it, but it's just, it's the source of where I got this picture. Anyway, this is what this looks like. Right. So I have Sarah Abo, and she comes in with Gabby Petito wanted to share her life with the world. She succeeded, though tragically not in a way she planned, which is a quote straight from the Gabby Petito documentary. Right. So that's what she quotes. And then the next person quotes, let's see, Tristan Harris. He quotes, advertisers are the customers. We are what's being sold. Right. So there's a quote, and that's straight from Social Dilemma, from Tristan Harris in the Social Dilemma. Right. Next person, who is Craig Groeschel, he brings in, so many of us are literally going through life, wishing away what we have right in front of you. Again, that's a direct quote from the moment speech. And then we have Plato, and he has the task of the enlightened, right? And he says, it is the task of the enlightened, not only to ascend learning and to see the good, but to be willing to descend again. And that's where I said, that's where I told, hold on, let me close my door. That's where I told my students, I'd like to think that the whole table went silent and everybody just looked at their food. Are you doing okay? Do you need some help with anything? Oh, yeah. Let me pause this real quick. I'm going to help a student real quick. Oh, you're okay. I'm just pausing. I'm just making a pause. Making a tutorial. Stop share. Pause. Okay, there we go. Pause. Oh, here, share. All right, So this is what that looks like and say where we are. And again, I think Plato would bring in this task of the enlightened, and this task of the enlightened, and the whole table would go quiet, right? And then we have the M&M's Corporation. Maybe. There we go. And she would say the Karen scene shows how social media is changing the thoughts and actions of adults, right? So we have all these quotes. They're just quotes that are similar, and it's our job to make them talk to one another, right? So we have all these quotes, and they're very similar. They have something to do with one another, and it's our job. Let's make them talk to one another. And I have one more. I have this guy represents me. He says, "Oh, cool. That's just like the further from Insidious," right? So I have all these people sitting around. So what does this look like? It looks a lot like, I have to move my picture of me. Anyway, this looks a lot like this right here. Since Tristan Harris implores, advertisers are the customers, we're what's being sold. I saw that the Karen scene shows how social media is changing the thoughts and actions of adults, right? So all I did, let's go back one. I mixed Tristan Harris with the M&M's Corporation, right? I mixed him saying the advertisers are the customers with what M&M's have to say, right? So one that we did here, our exercise, while Craig Groeschel pleads, so many of us are literally going through life wishing away what you have right in front of you. Sarah Ebo furthers that with, and that is why Gabby Petito wanted to share her life with the world, and she succeeded, though tragically not in a way that she planned. Right, so we take two sources and we make them talk to one another. So I had a lot of students who came up with some really great examples here, and we can share that. But this is pretty much just what we did. And again, I would like for us to, for Comp 2, I'd like to see this a couple of times in our essay. Comp 1, you're more than welcome to practice this because it will help you tremendously when you get into Comp 2. Because if you notice, if I say something like Tristan Harris implores, I saw that the Karen scene from the M&M's, like if I say all that in my essay, I have to introduce it before, I have to sum it up after. And so it enhances our essay. It helps us to go from, okay, I have 2 pages to now I have all this information and all these ideas, and I just have to organize them, right? I just have to put them in some kind of organized fashion. All right, so there's a couple things that I want to go over. I had a little worksheet and I'll have it in class if anybody needs one. But there's some things I'd like to go over when quoting, when having quotes and using these sources in our essay. So the first thing I would like to say, when using a site with many speakers or writers, quote that correct person in your essay. All right, even with the song. So let's say that you're using a song in your essay. Who wrote the song, right? Don't just say the song Into Jars by Chevelle, means this or goes along with that or furthers this. Let's have the person who wrote it, right? So quote the correct person in your essay. So that goes back to, here we have Tristan Harris. So I say, since Tristan Harris implores, and notice I have the social for the social dilemma in my in-text citation. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But I didn't say, since the social dilemma implores, and the social dilemma says, and the social dilemma points to, and the social dilemma furthers. I have their actual names in there, right? Tristan Harris implores this. And I have Craig Groeschel, Sarah Ebo. I didn't say the reporter from, or the Gabby Petito story says, and the Gabby Petito story shows, and the Gabby Petito documentary states, right? I say who actually says that. So that goes to, I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. And that goes to something else I want to open up, and that is this application worksheet. So let's go ahead and share this. Share screen. That's crazy. Share screen. Application worksheet, share. So if you notice, here are my my notes. Whenever I'm going over, this is all social dilemma, right? My social dilemma notes, and they're really small. This is just what I like to do. I like to put them side by side to highlight. We went over all that, but here we have Tristan Harris. Doesn't have a name, but it has a source. Tristan Harris, 6 minutes, 55 seconds. He says this, right? And then I have other people who talk. I've made a note whenever I was making my notes, here we have Shoshan Zuboff. He says, has another of my favorite quotes in here when he says, we were never evolved to have social approval to be dosed to us every 5 minutes, right? So this is a quote. Okay, if you could not, it's already hard to see. Anyway, so there's a quote, and this is who quoted it. Right, so that's the person who said it. That's another one of my, here's my favorite quote. It is from Tristan Harris. It finally gets to, he finally got to the heart of the matter here. A favorite quote from Social Dilemma right here. And it's Tristan Harris. It's not about the technology being the existential threat. It's the technology's ability to bring out the worst in society, and the worst in society is the existential threat, right? And that is my fate, because he finally got to the heart of the matter of what's wrong with social media, is that it brings out the worst in us, and the worst in us is the threat. And we see that. So I can take that, I can say, the Karen scene from the M&M's commercial shows what Tristan Harris implores, right? So that's another example. I'm gonna type that in down here just so you can see what I just said. Let's find a blank spot. Here we go. The Karen scene. I don't really want the word shows. And I'll show you how to do this. So Karen Sheen's shows. When my mind goes blank, like it does all the time, I can go to review and thesaurus, demonstrates, displays, illustrates. I like that. It's an illustration. It illustrates. The Karen scene illustrates what Tristan Harris, and I think that's how you say it, doesn't really matter. I can look it up later. What Tristan Harris implores. And that's where I would come up here and do a lot of copying and pasting, make sure I have my timestamp. Scroll back down, Control V, paste it correctly. Make sure I have my period in the right spot. Social. And that's what that looks like. Whenever you poke it into your essay, that's all you have to do. Right, and then you don't need that comma because. Burnett. And that's my Burnett, B-U-R-N-E-T-T-E. B-R-U-N, B-U-R, okay, sorry, I mixed the R and the U. Is the younger Burnett may not, or just the younger Burnett shows in right. So the Karen scene illustrates what Tristan Harris implores. It's not about the technology being the existential threat. It's the technology's ability to bring out the worst in society, and the worst in society is the existential threat, right? And then I have because. So I have this timestamp here. Go ahead and put it. We don't really need a comma before the word because. I don't want to get into that. But anyway, because the younger Burnett shows how social media changed her actions and her word choices, right? Her actions and word choices. So that's another way of blending these two. I have the correct in-text citation. That's very, very important. But that's just a way to blend. And if you notice, now I have to explain what I mean by that, explain, you know, what why Tristan Harris would have said this. And anyway, right. Good gravy. There we go. So that's what that looks like. Right. I don't have to have the Karen and the M&Ms up here. I have it once down here. Anyway, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so there's another way that we put it. But what I wanted you to notice is that whenever I'm taking notes, right, I'm using this this long documentary in my essay. I don't want to just quickly take notes, right? I want to make sure that I have their names and their timestamps. Here's another name and a timestamp there, right? So as I'm taking notes, I'm putting these timestamps all through here. I'm putting names through here. Same with the Gabby Petito case. Here's the Gabby Petito story. I have a timestamp here that her mother said this, right? I have most of it is Sarah Abo. So I'm not going to put Sarah Abo a million times, but when it's somebody else, I'm going to put that somebody else, like the criminal profiler. I made sure I put her name. Oh, this is the old one, but I have a new one, but I have a new Gabby Petito that I put all the names on there. I have like it on a separate piece of paper, but I do have the criminal profiler's name in there. I'll make sure I copy and paste that also, but I have their names and their timestamps, and that's all that I wanted you to see looking at this. All right, so let's stop sharing that and go back to our notes. Share screen again with the PowerPoint. All right, so the next one, go to the next, there we go. The next one, you do not need to write where the source came from. That is the purpose of the works cited page. All right, so here's a works cited page. Now here's the Gabby Petito story, an American tragedy, YouTube and all that. So if you notice here, Gabby Petito, right? Actually, let's just use Tristan Harris. Sorry, let's use Tristan Harris. So here we have The Social Dilemma, directed by, there we have all that. So in this instance, I said, since Tristan Harris implores. I didn't say since The Social Dilemma implores. I didn't put Tristan Harris from The Social Dilemma. You don't have to put any of that in there because that's what this is for. That's what that in-text citation is for, right? The social and then the timestamp. So we have, we don't have to put since Tristan, or look at the Gabby Petito case. I don't have to say Sarah Abo from the Gabby Petito documentary, what is that? It has a really long name. The Gabby Petito story, An American Tragedy, 60 Minutes Australia, or even 60 Minutes Australia. I don't have to put Sarah Abo from 60 Minutes Australia furthers that, or from the Gabby Petito. I don't have to put any of that in there. That's what the Gabby is for. I'm directing my reader to the works cited page, right? I didn't put a timestamp because I want students to do that with this our exercise, but it does have a timestamp there. So again, I don't have to put where these people are from. Like Craig Groeschel pleads. Who's Craig Groeschel? Well, that's the reason why I have this here. You can look up, who is this person? Where did he come from, right? So you can look that up and read more into it. So that's all that I wanted to say, is that's what this is for. So you do not need to write where the source came from. That's the purpose of the works cited page, right? That takes too much space in your essay and causes your reader to stray from the point. So you just put their names. And truthfully, you probably already introduced this person in the introduction or in one of the first body paragraphs, right? All right, so the in-text citation needs a timestamp for longer videos. Now I've yet to look up how long a video, I just say 5 minutes. If a video is more than 5 minutes, you need to tell your reader, where is this quote? So again, going back to this first one, Tristan Harris implores, right? I have the social, and then this is where he said it, right? This is where he stated it. Because if you have an hour, 2 hour long documentary or just movie or something like that, and you need to tell your reader, where was the scene, where was this quote, and so on, then they need to find, again, that timestamp. So that's what this is. That's what that means. It means 7 minutes and 13 seconds into The Social Dilemma. This is Tristan Harris said this, right? Now, if I had an hour and 7 minutes and I have a 1.7.13, right? And so that's what that means. And so I have some that are much longer in there, but that's all that means. There's no comma. It's just the social timestamp, right? We don't have an extra we don't have extra grammar or anything in there. We just have the social and 713. Right. The in-text citation. So the in-text citation for a longer name only needs to be the first couple of words. You do not need to place the entire name of the citation in the in-text citation. All right, so let's go back to the Gabby Petito. So the Gabby Petito story, An American Tragedy, 60 Minutes Australia. That's a really long name, right? So we don't have to put, whenever we put the Gabby in here, we don't have to put the Gabby Petito story, 60 Minutes Australia, all that entire name in here. We just need the Gabby and a timestamp, right? So if you notice, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. If you notice, this sticks out. Groeschel sticks out. M&M sticks out. The Gabby sticks out. I didn't finish that one. I was supposed to copy and paste that anyway. So Groeschel sticks out. M&M sticks out. The Gabby sticks out. The Cave sticks out. Those are all. And then this second, if it has a second line, unlike the Social Dilemma does not, but it has a second line, then the second line is indented because these are the words that are that will lead our reader to where to find this information, right? Where do you find that information? And then the last thing I want to go over, capitalize the words in a title on a works cited page, right? So a lot of times we'll have like the Gabby Petito story. Let's say that this was, or actually let's use M&M's. Let's say M&M Super Bowl 2021 featuring Dan Levy Come Together. That's the entire name of the YouTube video. Well, let's say that whenever I went to YouTube and I was creating this works cited page, let's say that Super Bowl, Dan Levy, all that wasn't capitalized. Well, I want to go ahead and capitalize that here, right? Just like our name. Whenever I write my name on a piece of paper, I want to capitalize Jamie and Worthley, right? I want to capitalize the J and the W. It's the same thing with here. And I think APA is different, but MLA still allows us to go ahead and capitalize these words here. And it's a formal essay. And these are formal names of videos, of people, of readings. So we want to go ahead and capitalize the Social Dilemma, the Cave, A Parable Told, Orson Welles. We want to capitalize those things. All right, so this makes it look nicer. So I want to make sure that we capitalize these citations in our works cited page. All right, and so this is just what I wanted to go over again with my Comp 1 students to help you with Comp 2, and then my Comp 2 students, I would like to see this idea a couple of times in our essay. All right, so that is what we're going to keep going over today. So there's one thing else that I wanted to go over while I have making a video for Comp 1 and Comp 2. In a moment, I'll get into a video just for Comp 2. Today or tomorrow, I'll get into a video for Comp 2 that talks about the structure and the outline of your essay, what we need to turn in 4 weeks. Okay, so I'm going to complete. I'm done with this. I'm done with how to make our sources talk. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, you don't have to do this if you're in Comp 1. If you're in Comp 2, I'd like to see it once or twice in your essay, just to show that you can further it. So that way you can show that, we're learning these techniques of writing, So I'm gonna go ahead and stop share and completely change gears to another idea. And so I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. All right, so I'm gonna go over how to use a website called iPicky to make a sayings poster. Now, this is not I'm looking at my saying on my phone. I text it to myself. This one I said there we go. All right. So let's go to share screen. iPicky.com. Now, again, this is not at all a requirement from the class. This just has to do with being on social media, using memes, allowing social media. We're on it a lot. And so anyway, I would like for us to have a saying, which is like a thesis, which is like something we're going to take away from our experience in composition. All right. So anyway, so I'm going to go to this, create a design. And I'm going to create something that I could use as it looks like these sayings and these memes. You know what? This is what we're shooting for. I'm going to go to this. This is what I'm looking at. We have quotes, images. Pretty quotes. Okay, there we go. So we see these on social media all the time, right? Here we have, let's see, never pass up an opportunity to enjoy nature's beauty. It's the handwriting of God. Here we have, anyway, we have a lot of different, there are always flowers for those who want to see them. Next time you think of beautiful things, don't forget to count yourself in. All right, so here we have a lot of really pretty quotes along with these pretty pictures and whatnot. So I'm going to talk about, you know what, let's make one. We've been writing a lot, we've been expressing ourselves. So let's make one of those. And right, so that's what I'm going after here. So let me make sure that I don't know if it moves with me whenever I move from screen to screen. It probably does, but here's back to a website called iPicky.com, and it's free. That's why I like it. It's free. It has a bunch of different texts. It has a way to have our pictures, right? So I'm going to take one of mine. Now I wanted to use my professional camera and all that, but it's been really cold here recently, and I'm going to go take pictures here soon, but I'm just going to use a couple of pictures. So I'm going to go to this add picture, add image. I downloaded a couple from my Facebook. Here's my, I'm probably gonna end up using the butterfly though. My spider is my favorite. I'm just gonna use my spider because I like it. All right, so I'm gonna put my spider over here. My favorite image I created was this spider here. All right, let's just put it somewhere right there. And then I'm gonna add text. Now, what's kind of a pain here is that you look over here for your text when you're typing it in. So here's my text, what was my quote? You're ignoring. Don't ignore. I'm going to have it, I don't. Don't ignore what's right in front of you. Chasing a reality that doesn't exist. Right. And this goes with, Gabby Petito, the Karen, all that we've been talking about. It goes with all that, right? So I'm going to put you, okay, I want you to move. There you go. You just kind of have to manipulate it. But I want that to move, be a little bit smaller. Now I can play around with this. I can round my corners. That'd be kind of fun. I like that. There we go. I like our rounded corners. I like that. Now I want my font or my text to be different. So I can play around with that. So here's a bunch of different font. Why is it not? Do I have to? Anyway, I'll play around with it a little bit. Okay, don't press the back button, by the way. Okay, good. There's my spider, still there. I didn't have anything go away. Maybe my text will still be there. Nope. Let me type that in again. Anyway, so we'll play around with using, again, this is called iPicky.com, IPICCY. I'll text it to you and show us. Don't ignore what's right in front of you. Chasing a reality. Now, if we are, if you're done with your essay and you finished up, that doesn't exist. If you're done with your essay, you finished up, you can take a week, make an actual poster. That doesn't exist. Just fine. But if we want to just make a quick poster, let's get our camera out and go take a picture of something going around, take a picture of some pretty, anyway, play around here, around those corners again. I like that. Let's take a picture on our camera, put a quote with that. All right. There it is. There's my difference. So I can change my font to white. Let's just change it to something really quickly. There we go. Doesn't have to be, now we want it to be white. So I've selected my font. That's good. Now I want it to be a different color. Here we go. Here's the color. I want it to be maybe gray or white, something that's going to show up. Anyway, that looks horrible, but you kind of get the idea that we can take a picture and we can put our quote with that picture, right? I could use my flower if I wanted to. I could put this right beside the spider if I wanted to. Okay, grab it and move over here. There we go. Right, I can put it right here. I kind of like that. Okay. Right. And so there's my picture. I can share that on social media. And I do have another picture that I can put. Let's see if my butterfly is prettier. Add image. There's my butterfly. Open that. So I can delete him. Where's my image? Okay, so I gotta use that. Spider, yeah, let's delete spider. Well, I'll just delete it off there. Okay, you need to go. Oh, I think you end up putting it back up. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. There's my quote there. Here's my other image. I can move it over here. Right, send it to the back or whatever. Anyway, so you can kind of play around. Here's my other picture of a butterfly that I go down. There we go. That's the down, and then I can put that. That's much prettier or whatever. Even though I do like my spider, maybe around those corners also if I wanted to. Just kind of play around with it. But anyway, so there's my sayings poster. It was a whole lot faster than, making the actual poster. But hey, if you want to make the poster, then you can make the actual poster if you want to. But I just took a picture that I took, and there's a quote that I made, and then I can save this on my computer. How do you just delete layer? There we go. Okay. I was like, how do you go away? Save. I file name, sayings poster. Right, save to my computer. And now I'm going to share that, close design, and I can share that to my Facebook and see if I get my likes. I couldn't care less. I don't put my, just move out of the way. Did I exit out of Facebook? I might have exited out. So I'm going to share this to my Facebook. Okay, what's on your mind? There's my photo. I don't know where it went. It's called Sayings Poster. It might be in my downloads. There it is. Open. All right, actually, I'm going to put that over to Paint so I can take that white off. But anyway, we can play around with it. All right, so I'm going to share that to my social media, see if I get any likes, and see if anybody asks me, hey, where'd you come up with that? Like, I wrote that. I created that saying. And so that's pretty much it. So that's just for Comp 1. This is just for Comp 1 and Comp 2. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my Facebook. But there's for Comp 1 and Comp 2, making our sayings poster, making our sources talk to one another. All right, I'm going to make another video here soon just for Comp 2 that talks about what do we need to have 4 weeks from now, right? What do we need to have by the time we get to finals? Is there anything that I missed? I also wrote like a quasi calendar on the board that tells Comp 1 what we're doing. So I'll just share that with you in an announcement. Okay, so finish strong, just finish strong, and let me know if you need anything. So stop my recording. Let me know if you have any questions. That sayings poster is what we're going to get into next week, the week of finals. The week of Thanksgiving break. We're going to do posters and journals and all that stuff, all the fun stuff on that week. So if students want to come and have some fun with that, they can. I would like to see a sayings that's going to rely heavily on that the last journal grade will also having a saying that you created that saying and we're going to do that in class. That's going to be part of that last 50 points for your journal will be part of that saying. All right, because I want that saying to be in our journal also. And anyway, all right, so I'm going to stop this and make another tutorial to help Comp 2 students. So Comp 1, just finish strong and have some fun. Just keep coming to class and finish. All right.